Hello, everyone. Ryan, I'm here to assist you. I am going to put some information in the chat, and whenever you're ready to start, is already 1:56. Oh, you already
Awesome.
put the information in the chat. Thank you so much, Ryan.
I was trying to be prepared for you, just in case.
Aha, thank you.
No problem. All right. Well, welcome everybody, and welcome to our session today. Making sure we are creating, an engaging and collaborative classroom through the use of Wakelet. My name is Ryan. I am head of educational partnerships here at Wakelet. So my job, I've come from the classroom. I spent 15 years as an elementary teacher, a principal, professional development specialist before joining the Wakelet team. And my role now on the team is to, present and share the love of Wakelet, but also, work with school districts and make sure that the partnerships between Wakelet and the districts are smooth, we feel supported, and that you've got friends on the Wakelet team here to help you out at any time. So I did share the link to our materials in the chat earlier. It's that Wakelet link. Feel free to follow along if what you're looking for is on there. And I'm going to go ahead and share my window here as soon as I find it. All right, so hopefully you can see my window with my Wakelet collections. And if you're in this session, then my goal or my hope is that you're familiar with what Wakelet is and what we do, because we just did host a Wakelet 101 session, like an intro to Wakelet. So hopefully if you're here, you have an idea. But if you don't and you are brand new to Wakelet, this is all about the idea of creating little collections like reverse Pinterest. You bring the content into the collections based on a chapter, a theme, a module, a unit, and then you share those collections out with students. In this case, this has nothing to do with education. I just created this one in the last workshop. It's all about cookies. So I put in some website, I put in some text, I put in an image, a PDF, and a video. And this would be the idea that I'm going to mix and match lesson resources and share that out. And what that would look like if I go to my role-specific collections, again, if you're not familiar with this, here I am teaching Romeo and Juliet to students, and instead of putting link after link after link to videos, to PDFs, to websites through the LMS that I'm using, I'm here instead. I created a collection for Romeo and Juliet resources. I've got videos across the top that I might want my students to watch. I've got websites I want them to visit. I've got PDFs and fact sheets that I want them to look at. And I'm just going to share this entire collection all at once right into Microsoft Teams. So the Teams icon will show up here. I am having slow Wi-Fi issues at home. Welcome to Western Pennsylvania with the hurricane weather coming up our direction. So there's the Microsoft Teams icon. I can take that, share that right into Microsoft Teams. And then my students have access to everything in that collection all at once. It's a great way to equalize and send the materials. It's a great way to diversify your lesson materials because my visual students can watch the videos. The ones who need to read and invest a little bit more can be diving into the websites and the PDFs and the text that I have. But real quick, real easy for you to find those inspirations and ideas. And we want to make you feel empowered. So the idea is, that the idea, if I refresh this collection for a minute, I had one of those, it's a great TikTok. You won't be able to hear it, but it's like when you see that they only have 2 tabs open, that's not me, right? I've got a bunch of tabs open. I've got a bunch of materials and resources available. But the reason for putting this in there is not just to have that TikTok video, but to show you that things are going to look the way they look on an app when you embed them into Wakelet. So a TikTok's going to look like TikTok. But you're going to pick the best of the best resources, and that's what we want from you. Teachers are the best curators of everything. Most of you probably have your Google Drive or OneDrive all organized nice and neatly by year, by subject, by chapter. You might have your bookmarked bar organized. I do not. I have everything in my Wakelet collections. So everything is set up in there to have everything ready. But let's talk about creating some really engaging lesson plans. And one of those, again, is the idea that if I am teaching the life cycle of a frog, right? What I want to get away from is I don't want to have this in my classroom. It's a hyperdoc. We've used these for a long time, but the students don't really know what they're clicking on. Right? The blue links look like the blue links. This is supposed to be an activity. It doesn't look very engaging. This image, if you try to move an image while it's on a Word doc or a Google doc, it never messes well with the text. So what I can do is take those same ideas and the same constructs and make sure that my Wakelet lesson is going to be more engaging. So all of those ideas and lesson plans now have a icon, a title, a description. They're more kid friendly. They want to click and see what they are. Your pictures can be instantly resized, so it's really great for that. And videos, if you use a lot of YouTube videos or Edpuzzle or Nearpod, all of those can be embedded and put in here. And this YouTube video will just play. No ads, no distractors, because we partner with Google. So you don't have to worry about your students seeing that Fortnite ad or something else that pops up. But you create these really engaging lessons just by mixing and matching some of the great content. You put text, you can put links, videos, everything all together again, and you share it directly into Microsoft Teams. The idea behind that is you can use our content inserter inside of a collection, and you can add your websites, you can add text, you can add images into your collections. For our Education and Education Pro editions, working with students, you can record and upload video. So if you were familiar with Microsoft Flip, which sadly went away, you can almost utilize us like that. That's available only in those versions, not on the free version. And then you can tie in all of your other content. But when you import and integrate your other content, right, from other areas, let's say I have a Kahoot quiz and I want my students to do it. We've all been at that point in the classroom where I'm like, let's go to Kahoot, and he's at Kahoot, they're at Kahoot, and this person had no idea what was going on, right? And I just wasted the time that I had to get into that Kahoot activity. What if I just copied the share link and I put it in here? And this is one of them. If I click this Microsoft EDU Kahoot challenge, it opens up a Kahoot that is timed, it's ready, I can join and put my nickname in, and the teacher's going to get the data back on their Kahoot dashboard. So it quickly jumps in. I can see, it's open for 2 more days and 20 hours. It's got 12 questions. The nice part is I built this in Kahoot, get the share link, pop it into a Wakelet collection, and there it is. Same thing with quizzes, right? Quizzes could do the same thing. If you get the embed code for quiz, it'll embed the entire activity right inside of your Wakelet, so it doesn't open up in a new tab. I just did that. You can also have your text read out loud. If you use Spotify for any reason, check it out. This is a playlist in Spotify. It updates. When I update my playlist, this will keep going, and they can listen to the music. They can see it. It's really great that things just look the way they do. If you're using Instagram in the classroom, my guess is no. But if you ever did, you could make an Instagram look like an Instagram. Just copy and paste the Instagram link. Genially, it's one of those ones that people use. Loom Video, Genially, nothing clicks on this website. If I activate it, then I can dive into these things. I can click on somebody's button there and activate their content. So it's really great that you can just take any content from anywhere that you have, embed it in here, and put a Nearpod with a website, with an Edpuzzle video, and maybe follow it up with a Kahoot quiz. And you've got that lesson self-contained and ready to go. So really great. This will be part of that collection that I've shared out for you as well. Another way to think about it is like in your classroom, it could be an exit ticket where I could have a collection set up and I can invite people to collaborate on my work. Most of the time, we share collections with CanView, which just allows them to view the content that I share with them and click on and interact with it. If I change it to CanAdd, it makes them a contributor with my copy link, much in the way that Padlet works. And the idea that I can say, tell me everything you know about dinosaurs, and they'll be able to use that link to go into Wakelet, go into your collection, and they'll be able to contribute, whether it's text and type it in, use a video or a GIF. They'll be able to answer and respond with that can't add feature. I just want to add the caveat though, like if you have a free Wakelet account, the contributions, the contributors, you're limited to 3 of those collaborative inputs before it locks you out. So we do offer an Education Pro plan, which strips that away and allows for students to be rostered into your class and unlocks everything for them so they can contribute numerous times. But what a contribution looks like is I could share this copy link out to all of you right now, and I can. I'm going to go ahead and do so. If anybody wants to take part in this, go ahead, click that link. What it's going to allow you to do is add something to this activity. And this activity is a playlist icebreaker. It's one I use quite often with my workshops. It's one that I've done before where you just add your favorite song to this little collection. And you can do that by following that link, and it should ask you to open that up into your Wakelet, and then you can contribute either using the YouTube link or by copying and pasting your video in there. But I'll give a minute and see if anybody wants to actually contribute. Right now, I've just got 2 rows and myself. We'll see if anybody wants to contribute. We'll see. But this would be a great way for an exit ticket, or in this case, if I'm not there in the classroom, this could be a way I could take attendance for a sub, right? This could be up on Microsoft Teams. Students could click the link. They could go in here and pick their favorite song for the moment, and you'll notice it does do attribution. So if they have accounts, you're able to see their names, who has put the content in. So we'll see if anybody's added. No pressure, anything if you don't add. Just want to show you how this can be used for that engagement topic. So you can always add people into these conversations. We have templates to help you make that classroom a little bit more innovative and engaging. So one of those common concepts is like storytelling or writing an essay. There's always a time and a place for paper and pencil, of course, writing drafts. Sometimes students just need a different way of unlocking their creativity. And one of those ways is to have, maybe through the use of Wakelet, I'm not saying it is or isn't, but one way that some students might learn is being able to chunk this. And this has worked really well on paper for my daughter. She's really great at coming up with ideas, but sometimes her writing doesn't get fleshed out as much as I know she can do. So if I chunk it out, first step is introduction. Let's get this story started. For her, maybe she wants to draft a storyboard of her essay, and she could take a picture of it and pull that into her Wakelet account here. She could attach that with the image icon, and then maybe she wants to actually use the text editor and just start typing her story in there or gathering up some ideas. It becomes like a giant web that allows her to plot things out slowly and easily, step by step by step, so that you can chunk this from introduction to build up to problem to resolution and to the end. Again, you could do this as a class. You could see things moving. You could see how everything works and goes through. We also have a template for research projects. So if you think back to research projects, when students are creating these things, a lot of times we're getting the finished product, but maybe we don't know the bibliography is accurate or not. We don't know what they looked for or what they searched for. Here, we could give them this. We could share this out to them. They could make a copy, and they could put in their links that they visited for their research. They can type in their notes using the text editor. They can put the images that they wanted to use in their presentation, any videos they consulted, PDFs, and then they can put a link to their final essay. And this would have like their Word doc or Google Doc for their final essay alongside all of their resources and reference materials that they were able to use. And if anybody's interested in this template, what I can do is I will share this template out just in case. Research template, because it is one of our ones that get used quite a bit and quite often in that. Now for students, this is an example of a student project done throughout Wakelet. And a lot of times it comes down to like the trifold board idea, and trifold boards are great. They're $5 or so, in the idea that a trifold board, students can put their work on there. But it also comes with some drawbacks in the idea that some parents help out more than other parents. And trifold boards, what do you do when the project's done? They either have to send the projects, the trifold boards, home, or you're going to end up with a bunch of them that you're trying to store. And that same thing is, a Wakelet Education Pro license for a student is $4. So it's the same cost as that. And they would have the ability to make as many collections as they want. But this is a student at Orlando Science Charter School at one of their campuses. And he did his entire research project in here where, documented his pictures and what his work was trying to accomplish. You click through again. Instagram looks like Instagram. He typed in text about what his project was working with. And why. And again, I love the fact that anytime there's typed text inside of Wakelet, Wakelet Immersive Reader from Microsoft will allow that to be read out loud and translated in over 67 different languages. He input videos, he's got his credits, he's got all of his student project and work inside of there. So it comes down to just how do you want to make your classroom be so innovative and exciting. And a lot of that is just through that use of what it is we want to do. A lot of us do classroom newsletters. And we could do classroom newsletters like a 2024 edition, because I'm guilty of it as a former educator, as someone who's married to a teacher. When the classroom newsletter comes home for my daughter, and now my son starting kindergarten, I take a look at it and I see what's really important, but then it goes right in the garbage. It's there for a couple minutes and it's great, but what if you could make it more interactive? And you think about like that home to school connection. How can we increase that and make it more engaging? This classroom newsletter that I'll share, again, this is one that might be worthwhile because I love the layout of this. This template, when he comes through, just click make a copy and it's yours. You can start editing and change the cover image. You can change the description. But I love the way this is laid out because I can type in my greetings for the month. Welcome to back to school time. It's September's coming up quickly. Welcome back to school. We've got all of that. Here are the important dates for the month. And not only can I type these in, but I could also edit and hyperlink these. So maybe they go somewhere important. I could use the power of the PDF upload or the image upload for maybe a Canva poster for a back to school event or an invitation. Reminders of what's going on and policies. So you can upload some PDFs, you can mix and match web links. And then here's what's going on in the classroom, right? A lot of times we try to over convey as teachers what is going on in the classrooms, but parents may or may not understand. Now I can tell them exactly what we're learning. I might even link to some of the resources that we're covering, just so that parents feel supported and have an idea of what we're covering and why, right? As the standards change, as everything changes in education, I can help support the parents and the families just like I can. But my favorite one is the student showcase. I always struggled. I was a former STEM lab teacher, and my kids were making some really great products and projects. And at the same time, how do I document that in a way that parents can see them? Because they can't come in every 5 days and see what's new. So I ended up taking my classroom newsletter. I would take pictures, I would go print them out, and then I would put them, organize them onto a sheet of paper and then print those. So my classroom newsletter was like a 5-page piece of paper stapled together. And I don't think anybody, read it or looked at the pictures. But here at that student showcase, I could add pictures, videos, work samples from what students are creating in the classroom. And I can put those in here. And again, parents don't need an account to view a Wakelet collection. I can just share this out. They can click to interact with the content, which means they can see what their students are working on in the classroom. Takes out the guesswork. They can clearly see what you're working on. They can see what their students are contributing. And this last thing, if you ever wanted students to do extra work or send something home for the parents to work on with their students, now it could be a live link. It could be something that's available to them to click and make use of those materials. So this classroom newsletter one is one I love the most. I like to use newsletters through Wakelet. It just makes sense. Collaborative writing. This, the idea of collaboration, it comes up quite a bit in this presentation just because we want people working together. We want them to interact and really increase that engagement with the content. So if we're doing this is like one of those telephone games, in the idea that instead of passing and sitting near one another and adding things vocally, this is done through, and I love this, is done from IdeaCon, being able to add this story to this. So he shared this out as a can add link and to his students, and he started off with a STEM. It was a hot summer day, hotter than it had been in a long time, and then the next person came in and would add to it, right? And you're seeing everybody adding in different sections. It's got the attribution. They're picking up the sentence from the person before them and making this thing live. And I just think it's so cool. It's such a unique idea for everybody to have access and work together to collaborate. For those of you who are looking for, some inspiration or ideas, check out the Explore tab. We have templates, we have, App Smash templates. We've got things available to you to start using for, collaboration. And the idea that if I jump into templates, it eventually loads up. If I want to use it for exit tickets, or if I want to use it for the classroom, we've got a template you can utilize, right? Maybe it's a 3-2-1, and I can just jump in and say, what are 3 things you learned today? What are 2 questions you still have? What's 1 thing you need from me? And my students could contribute. I can see everybody's response. It just makes it really easy to get that engagement process with students. And again, you're seeing all of the materials and the ideas inside of here. Mindfulness or icebreakers. We've got things available to you so that you can start utilizing a lot of these. Again, the idea is that we want your lessons to look highly interactive. We want them to, really take off and showcase. So this Wakelet examples collection, it's in that collection that I shared earlier, but just in case, this one here, this has examples that run the gamut of everything you could possibly think of. So if you were working on research projects, you can see exactly what a research project could look like, where students are aggregating all of their materials, right? We're going to be studying this. It says this collection holds all the reading assignments, informational videos, links, and information and resources. And if you go to Microsoft Teams for your classroom, in that channel, there's a plus sign at the top of your channel. And if you click that plus sign, one of the things you can add is Wakelet. And after you add that Wakelet to your channel, you can pin it so that it just stays at the very top of your Microsoft Teams channel. And I think that's important to know, because if you're using Teams, Wakelet, it meshes naturally. You can pin it to the top, and then once that unit's done, you unpin it and put the next unit up there at the very top of your classroom, so that it becomes a standard resource. Everybody knows where to go for it. They have access to it. But this collection and examples, if you're looking for research, if you're just looking for sharing materials, if you're looking for how students can collaborate, collaboration, again, even though it's limited, it is super powerful inside of Wakelet when done. This class project is incredible to take a look at. Your lesson plans. We've already shown you the life cycle of a frog. You've seen that. Here's one about motion. And it's got the text, it's got some images, it's got some videos inside of here. It's a way of being able to deliver that content when you don't think you have the time to deliver the content, including the YouTube video that's buried inside of there. Newsletters, there's more than just one template. So if you find a newsletter that you like better than somebody else's, you can feel free to steal those. But we want you to utilize this and consider the idea that, again, anything can be integrated into these. If you go back to that that idea of sharing your material, sharing your resources. One thing that I can show in my collections is I love building it with a Canva presentation inside. So if I'm using Canva and I can embed that presentation, my slides are accessible in no time, and they can slide through. They can see my presentations, right? They don't have to leave to go to Canva. They don't have to follow a link. They can instantly click along, follow along. This could be a Loom video. It could be whatever you have. Again, whatever, anything that has a share link, bring it together and put it into a Wakelet collection. Romeo and Juliet resources. The idea that the platform allows you to use what it is that you want. Maybe it's a choice board. This is one that I used prior to joining the Wakelet team. I was teaching a lot of coding workshops. And coding workshops aren't very easy, or coding lessons aren't always the easiest because everybody's going to be in a different spot at the same time. Everybody's trying to accomplish 12 different tasks. So what I did is I created this little choice board. We were teaching Fortnite Creative. So I created this choice board so that anybody who was new to Fortnite and needed some inspiration or some ideas, they could watch this video. Here was an introduction to like the terminology and how to utilize Fortnite itself, because not everybody's a gamer, including me. I had no idea how to do that until I learned how to do these activities. And then for the participants, there was 5 tasks to do. So they could choose whether they wanted to do conditional statements or functions. Any one of these 5 activities, what I did is I linked the website, then I linked the lesson plan, the student guide, and the teacher guide so that they could see the differences between the teacher guide that has all the answers, the student guide that did not. And when you're doing a PD for teachers, it was great for them to compare and contrast in case they were following off the student guide or they got stuck. They could go to the teacher guide. But then I could also mix and match and put that video in there so that the students who were more visual, or for the teachers who needed help, they could watch that YouTube video and see how to finish and complete the activity. And choice boards are a great way for your students to showcase their work. And so it's expanding the different ideas beyond what we have. For some of you, we've talked about this before, the last collection as well, or the last presentation, the Sustainable Development Goals. We have collections available to you. They're already multimodal. So there's videos, there's text, there's phrases. If you're talking about zero hunger, you can click into that collection and you'll see the introduction, there's some infographics, there's tasks available for your students to complete, and there's the resource videos and activities. And if you gave this to a group of students to complete, they're going to know exactly what it is you want them to do. Even if they don't complete it through Wakelet and they want to do a paper and pencil based assignment, they can do that because they have the resources available to them to consume directly through this collection. If you're not familiar with these SDGs collections, I will put these in here because they're not in my presentation, but I want to put them in there for you. Again, a free resource available to you. You can have your students go through, but it shows that quality ability to create a playlist of your best hits for your students, right? Mixing and matching and following through all of those items. Also, instead of that Explore tab, you're going to see those App Smash templates. And for those of you, I brought this up the first session too, if you are looking to highlight a partnership between a certain app or anything, if you use a lot of Edpuzzle, guess what? We've got, an Edpuzzle and Wakelet collection that's already created for you. If you use a lot of Adobe or Microsoft, you can find ways to bring the products together and learn a little bit more about that process by going through and setting things up, or inventing your own country through Canva, or an astronomy lesson plan in Lumio. We want to help you get started with all of those ideas. And that Explore page is where you're going to find those inspiration. If you're teaching science, right, these are collections that have been tagged that are readily available for you. Some of them are cross collaboration, so you get math and science with the same tags. You get some things that are useful. You could also use search and find a collection that is available to you with what you want as well. We've got a PD hub. We have the ability to support all of you with what's going on. And then we have that student ambassador course. And this is created by Deb Zeman and Tisha Poncio. So the student ambassador allows your students to complete 6 different tasks that are highly reflective and more of a PBL spin, right? These aren't things that they're just going to check off and do. Critical thinking. So this task takes about 40 minutes. It's going to ask them to spark a debate, right? So come to an opinion about something, which is fine. Maybe it's cell phone use in the classroom, use the pros and cons. Maybe if you're using it for middle school students, maybe you give them the topic to pick from. If you're working with high school students, maybe you allow them to open up and choose something on their own. But to complete the task, they have to choose their topic and use 5 different media sources to show both sides. So both sides of the pros, both sides of the cons, about what topic it is they're choosing. And we introduce the idea of bias and knowing that certain things are skewed certain ways they are. And then we give them an example. So in this case, it was the positives and negatives of social media. So they're aggregating, 5 resources to support the use of social media and why it can be a good thing, as well as 5 sources that talk about, the negative effects of that social media usage. And then when you're ready, they can earn and share that collection with you, and they can earn their critical thinking badge. And students can get these little micro credential badges for each one of these 6 different ideas and activities. So it's a really great program to have where they can dive in and see. If I go to that Explore tab, it's available for you to put your students into that student ambassador program right here. They can earn a complete certificate. They can earn all their badges. At the very end, it's creating like a mini portfolio for them from all of the previous 5 ideas that they've worked through. So it's a great start for them to start building digital citizenship skills, communication, collaboration, creativity, critical thinking, curation, and then pulling it all together. Again, free of charge, able to be utilized in your classroom, but very engaging to put into your content. I'm going to pause for a minute. Does anybody have any questions so far about what Wakelet can do in your class? All right, sounds like a no. If so, please feel free to type them into the chat. Like, we want you to, we want people to make a real difference with this platform. And one of those reasons, it's going to be grainy. This image needs to be resized a little bit here. But when students are leaving high schools, they're looking for entering the job or the college and career readiness platforms. People are looking for critical thinking and problem solving, teamwork and collaboration, professionalism and strong work ethic, oral and written communications, leaderships, skills. Like, there's not a test that captures all of those things all together. And we want our students to leave feeling supported in all 5 of those top skill areas. And we feel that the Wakelet platform does a lot of that for you. Here are some actual teacher uses as well. So how are people using it? You can hear it from me. You can see it on the platform, but I've gone through and I've tried to aggregate as many cool use cases as I possibly could throughout the use of Twitter. So people who are sharing out some really awesome things that they're doing. So of course, portfolios and being able to share their art projects and what they're working on and mixing and matching their media. Portfolios are a huge thing for us here at Wakelet. Inquiry projects or Genius Hour, being able to document and get students to do those research projects through the use of Wakelet. One of my favorites is right here with the idea of mix and matching a paper-based assignment, something like storyboards and visuals to create a movie adaptation, and then they move to the next step. They've got their paper and pencil version. They can take a picture of it and add it to a Wakelet collection, and then they can go and make their video however they need to, edit their video, share that video into a Wakelet collection, and you can track from beginning stages to middle stages to the final output of student work. Right? It's, again, highly engaging. It's just getting them from that point of compliance where we give them something to do and they do it and say, what's next? We're stepping them up and saying, like, now let's get you engaged in this content. Let's feel you being immersed with this video, this activity, this lesson. You're creating, they're crafting, they're doing things at the same time through the platform. And that's what we want. Yeah, there's just a lot of ideas. Podcasts even. So I love this idea. Creating student podcasts are always a great idea. I think students having a voice and having something to say is incredible. And this is a school district up here in New York State, just across the border from me. And what they do is they use Anchor, and the students do all of these episodes for their podcast. But what they do is they have their podcast about this week in athletics, but they put them all into a Wakelet collection. So they make it an Anchor, put it into Wakelet, and show notes, all of that stuff. And then this is actually linked to their district webpage. So when parents come to the website and are looking for this week in athletics or tech, they can get all of the episodes into a single location. All right, it's a really great resource for you to have. To that vein, I want you to think about, your collections. As you get started and you work with Wakelet, you're going to have collections galore, hopefully, about all of your different materials and resources, and sharing them to Microsoft Teams is a great way. But you also have something else. You have your public profile down here, and you can make your public profile what you need it to be. So if I make this collection for cookies, I can send it to my students through Microsoft Teams, but it's not going to help my parents because they're not going to be able to see it. So one thing I can do is we have a publish button. And that publish button allows me to publish that collection in a public space so that other people can find it. And if I click publish, it's going to go out here onto my profile page that I can kind of categorize with different sections. And then I could share this as like my district webpage with parents. Go to wakelet.com/Ryan McGinnis. You can stay up to date with all of our resources and materials that are being covered in class. And they can find, if they want to learn about digital learning resources, if they want to look about video games in education, conference collections, Read Across America. It's a clickable content delivery system. So you could have all of your chapters, modules, themes linked to your profile page, and you share that to the parents so they can see what's going on in your classroom, what's being taught. They don't have to see student work. They can just see what the resources are and the materials that you are teaching from. So just to dive back into this integrations one, you can copy and paste anything from anywhere that you have. I did have a Nearpod. Let me see if I still have it in there. I don't know if I do or not. Quizzes, Buncee, Flipgrid. I did not have my Nearpod still in there. So I'll try to add one of those back in for you so you can see it. But it really is just as easy as going to nearpod.com, launching that lesson. And it can either be self-paced or all at once. Copy and paste it in here inside of your live link. And then it just embeds itself directly in. Being able to pull in anything from anywhere, Pear Deck, Giphy, Adobe Express. The possibilities are endless to help you find those lessons that we want you to do. And I'm going to share one more tidbit here if I can find it. Examples, explore. We have a couple of videos that I will add to this collection as well. I think one of them is right here. This video explains how all of our collaboration features work, so that you can see everything from like teacher to teacher collaboration, because maybe you're going to work and share resources and convene things together. And that's a great way of aggregating all of your resources together, sharing things as a grade level. You can pull things together into a Wakelet collection and share your materials together. Or you can share so that your students can contribute, just like we did with that activity for the playlist. I wanted to check back and see if anybody added anything to the playlist, just in case. We did. All right, someone did. Perfect. So thank you, whoever decided to add something. I think it was Lizeth. Thank you for putting something in there. But you can see, and that's a great song, by the way, Cranberries Linger. I'm a huge, huge Cranberries fan and love that song. Someone just did Royal Otis just did a cover of that, and it's well worth checking out. But the idea that, again, I can see Lizeth put this in there. I can see the attribution. So I knew she was there in class today. I knew she took part. It's an easy way. And then later on, like if you're thinking of an easy way to bring that classroom community all together, we've just created a playlist. And while students are working on a project, I can pull this up and I can listen to age appropriate versions, of course. I can listen to the versions of the song across the classroom. And everybody had a say in that playlist. Any questions about building or collaborating with all of your content? I want to make sure you get everything that you can possibly get out of that session. As always, I just want you to know you have full access to the Wakelet team at any time. Again, my email address is ryan@wakelet.com. You also have access to Tisha Poncio, tisha@wakelet.com. Melissa Kreiser is our customer success manager. So melissa@wakelet.com. All three of us are former educators. We're here based in the US. We're more than happy to schedule some time with you. If you have questions, if you get started on trying to build the perfect lesson and you get stuck, we're more than happy to meet with you and share some time and share some expertise with you. Just know, the Wakelet team is here to support you. We want you utilizing the platform. We want you to see how it works, regardless. So just know that. All right, and then the last little bit of this presentation, we're going to talk about some features that you might not have access to, but maybe down the road, it's something we can explore. This area that you're building in is, if you're on the free version of Wakelet, you're able to customize and create and build these collections and share them out to whoever you want to. Easy peasy, no problem whatsoever. We do offer an education edition. And what that allows you to do is separate your individual collections from your education space. And you can see that just by switching over into an education workspace, my classes pre-populate on the left-hand side. So through the use of Clever or ClassLink or a CSV upload, all of my classes will show up down here, just like they will for the students. So one-stop shop. Students don't see Search or Explore. By the way, they can't look around the platform. They can only see collections that you've given them. Inside of my class for music appreciation, these are 3 collections that I've allowed students to look at. I've placed them here. I've shared them out. I don't have to actually share the links to the students. If they're here in this area, the students can instantly see them. The Education Pro Edition also allows for me to have complete oversight into student accounts. So as a district or as a class, I can go in and my roster will show up here on the right-hand side. And if Steve's in my class, I just want to keep track of what Steve's working on. All right, so I can click into Steve's account instantly, and I can see not just the collections that I've had him work on, but I can see Module 5, Module 4, Module 3, Module 2, and his music therapy class. So I can click into these. I'm a co-editor on every student that I'm rostered to, which means I can go in and leave notes for them and say, hey, can you clean this up? Can you add more? I can give them feedback on their assignments. So it really does allow for you to do a lot more. But of course, that comes at a cost for an Education Pro plan. You have the ability to look at things from, a higher level ability. So you can pull up some analytics and you can see when students are getting into the collections, at what time. You can see time spent viewing a collection, which is when you share one out to them, versus the time spent of them building a collection. So you can see that they're, building things quite often. And then you also get a dashboard that allows you to control not just who they can share with, and this is, they can share with their classroom, they can share across the school, they can share with everyone. You can even make this fall, it'll say teacher only, so they can only share to their teacher and can't share with their fellow classmates. But you can also turn on and off the different integrations. So if your students, misuse YouTube, or you don't trust them to use the YouTube integration, you can turn that off at certain grade levels. You can add and create groups. So like book things, maybe they're not rostered with Clever or ClassLink, but you want to do like a student group, or you want to put the teachers together that you work with as a group. You can control all of that. Our Education Pro plans right now, we do offer a ISTE package. So it's a back to school package, and that runs, I spelled it correctly. Back to school package gives you 2 teachers, up to 50 students with safe, secure access for $199. So what we've done, not a sales pitch or anything, just if you were looking at utilizing this with students and you wanted to have all the oversight plus the video recorded video upload feature, there are levels to what Wakelet can offer. And you could always write to me and say, Ryan, I'd like to use this for a classroom, but I've got 75 students or I've got 85 students. We'll make it work for you, right? We're not here to take everything that, teachers don't have money. We understand that. We want to sustain, we want to support, we want to do what we can. So just know that that is an option. The free version still exists. The free version is amazing. We want you utilizing Wakelet regardless. So just know, always reach out, Ryan@wakelet.com. We've got your back. We want you to know we love you. We support you. We wish you nothing but the best for the school year. I'll hang out and answer any questions if you have anything. If not, we'll see if we can get the link to the survey put in here before we close up shop for the day. I know it's Friday, and thank you for your time. Please reach out if you have any questions. And I'm really excited to see what it is that you create with Wakelet this school year.